Krishna Prasthaya Bhutere Shivati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Prachari Nirvishesha Shunyamadi Praschatyadi Pitari Vanchakalpata Rubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayavita Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, so we will try to keep it short and sweet. As of now, I'm not quite sure if I know how right.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear Shyam Kishore Prabhu?
Yeah, you might cut off here and there.
Would it be okay for you to stop shaking the camera at some point?
Sorry? Should I search live video off? Maybe it will be better.
No,
the video.
Video is fine. It's just that when you're shaking it, then it immediately switches on, and then my head starts shaking together with you. I'm joining you in this kirtan.
Maybe I think it's better now without the video.
Okay, no problem. So once again, I suggest keeping it short for now. My whole desire was to share one interesting idea where they're not even brahmacharis or monks, those who started that. They are grihasthas who just expert in blogging, but then they thought, why not try and applying the same techniques into sharing books. And then when COVID-19 kicked off, then they engaged the brahmacharis who couldn't go out, and they still can't go out on the street, but they started doing a follow-up for this program, and they have distributed hundreds of books using Instagram only. At the same time, I don't want to kind of push it too much or impose myself too much. I tried bringing some points down in terms of what it is and how it works. It would be nice if you can tell me if you had a chance just to read it through. Maybe you had a chance to look at the Instagram page. Maybe you actually looked at some of the highlights of the stories that I was recommending, just to get an idea what it's all about and how it works. So I'm wondering if any of you had a chance to do that.
I had a look. So just to get, I think just to get to check my understanding how it works, because I'm not so good with this. This is kind of like quite new to me. But basically, the main thing is that the devotees are doing. They're contacting bloggers, right? So you have a page on this Instagram. Then you contact bloggers and ask them and send them a book and ask them to write a commentary about the book. Is that right?
Yeah, that's one of the key features that they use, and they use it successfully in increasing the reach of how many people get to know about the book, and then how many people subscribe to the page, and how many of those who subscribe then eventually purchase a book for themselves.
So I guess the people who receive the books is it can be anyone, who has to be someone specific who's blogging on spirituality or writing book commentaries. Or
it depends. There is a cultural aspect to it. Muslim culture would be one. English culture would be another one. Russian culture is slightly different. So in Russia, people are just a little more opened up to the idea of God, of self-discovery. So you can actually apply more direct techniques there in terms of how you represent yourselves. There is many biased things. There is a lot of opposition. There is church. And once again, it's the context of that particular region. But the idea is that depending on who is the audience, well, you can say, who are those people that you stop on the street, whom you find more receptive for that.
Right.
And then similarly, you try to pick and choose those particular bloggers who likely to resonate with this idea. Those who are on this page, I haven't checked it that thoroughly, but it's not that most of them are yogis. It's not at all. Many of them are just common people, ordinary people, mostly youth in different age groups. But once again, in London, we would genuinely think, oh, it's some type of a yoga group or spiritual seeker or something. I'm just saying it's very broad. That can be implemented in any particular region. We should bear in mind that time, place, circumstance defines who might be the right person to reach out to, and then you go to the influencers of that particular groups who then in fact in turn others with a positive opinion about the book or whatever you're selling to them.
When they write the post or something, then they put it on their own page or whatever website, and then that's how you get more people to.
Yeah, I will demonstrate something. It will speak for itself very quickly. But just before I do that, Natasha Mataji, just to get a better idea as well, did you have a chance to look through any of these things?
Yes, very briefly. I couldn't quite. I was trying to make sense of the post, but obviously they're in Russian, so I was like, okay, I'll wait to speak to you to get a bit more idea. So I couldn't understand. I wasn't clear on what they're posting. So is it right that they are doing like a little review, and that's what gets posted with the image, right? Like on the page. Or
yes. There is certain things that need to be seen as a principle. Certain things need to be seen as a detail. So the principle is they're making a post. They usually make a story. Oh, I received this wonderful book. They unwrap it, like this wow effect, surprise, what's there, and they say, "Hi, here's the book. I'll show you some of those things." Every person is different, so they have their own take to it. Some people would do whatever. These are bloggers. That's their whole thing. How to make it interactive, engaging, nice, and we just engage this propensity into speaking about the book and showing the book. But then, yes, because quite a few people would actually, it's also another thing that many of the bloggers often these days, they apply some element of nudity, if that's the word. So we're trying to limit that. We putting it as a mark to kind of be a little sober or whatever. It's such and such book. So again, that can be discussed, and a particular script is given on some small do's and don'ts. They're not religious type. Then you're not bashing them. It's a very friendly manner. You put it in nice wording so they understand and appreciate it, what you're asking them about. I'll show you a little bit from the screen itself. Okay, so can you all see the screen right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, the principle is before you reach out to those people, make sure that your content looks good. Here, you would see that from our perspective, it's quite direct preaching, you may say. There is an image of Krishna, there is Indian lady with the sari, there is cows, there is Bhakta with the shikha, there is a spiritual master, there is a blessing hand. So it has a very particular Indian feel to it. This is a detail. The principle is it's fresh, it's good looking, it has its own unique style, it's all done with a flavor. There is some consistency in storytelling and a particular type of categories that captions that they choose and write under each post. So once again, the principle is fresh, bright, unique content. That's your face. This is what they look at. Within 3, 5, 10 seconds, they immediately feel, oh, it looks professional. They know what they're doing. It's nice. It's cool. I'm wondering what's the book behind it. or they just close it because they're bloggers. They know all kinds of accounts. They know it inside out, and they immediately feel if it just doesn't resonate with them. It was slightly different at the beginning. You see, the later parts, they're more pinkish. It was slightly different at the beginning. A whole other seminar can be given on how to make the post attractive. I'm not going to go into that. This is a detail at that particular moment. So, okay, this is it. We see direct representation of Srila Prabhupada's books. We see certain images which are appealing to the audience that we are reaching out to, and there is different type of captions which are used to describe something. So here it says a contemporary woman. Here it says secrets of health. Here it says the purpose of life. Here it's about Bhagavad Gita itself. Here it speaks about yoga. Here it says about attachment and well, basically ragadvesha in Russian words. Doesn't come to my mind in English. Here, get to know the author. So some of those videos.
В 1965 году его божественная милость Ачья Бхактивиданта с вами Прабхупада покинул святой город Вриндаван, чтобы передать сознание сознания Кришны странам.
And anyway, I can go a lot into the details, but it's just worth surfing it out. Also, usually it gives a chance to translate. Here, although it's in Russian, usually Instagram, mine doesn't give because it gets recognized as the same country, but usually it has C translation, and then you can see.
Oh, I can't see that in my app either, so I wonder.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I find it. Yeah, I see it now. Okay.
Yeah. So then you can go through different posts. You can see some of the categories of posts which are used. In that particular case, I just want to come back to the principle. It should be fresh, it should be good looking, it should be appealing to your particular target audience. Whoever those bloggers and people you're going to reach out to, it should resonate with them. Whether it's more, I don't know, hippie type, aristocratic type, yoga type, wishy-washy spiritualist type, anything. Maybe it's a combination of some of those and shows different facets. Maybe it's 3-4 different pages which are targeting different audiences. That can be discussed. Then the same principle of what kind of post to present, you can pretty much hear from any seminar on how Instagram content should be like. That's plenty of that in material world, but just use it and then dovetail it, given Srila Prabhupada and Krishna to it. Now the second thing, how intense or how condensed your Krishna consciousness is going to be. Once again, for this audience, it's working fine. For some audience, that might seem as directly religious and they wouldn't even serve it. So it's important to measure this barometer. Is it a Jai Shetty type? I'm not speaking about God. I'm not speaking about vegetarian. I'm not speaking about anything that would narrow the niche down, but I talk about raising the consciousness, about self-discipline, motivation, goal. This would be very, very broad, appealing to those people with refined rajas and coming up to gradually evolve into sattva gun. And hardly little bit, sattva gun, pretty much that's where he ends up. He gives some bits on meditation, and he's wonderful. I mean, he's incredible. We can see how he's at the entry of this funnel of where Krishna consciousness can lead us to. And then there, somewhere closer down to, somewhere down there, it's the Sangha that people join at Soho and the consular system. And at some point they got initiated and they take the ISKCON disciple course before that, etc., etc. So you choose anywhere in between what would be your target audience and representation of your content accordingly. Okay, so this is about the content. Is it more or less clear? And can I shift now to the second part of what the bloggers and how they reciprocate with that, etc.
Yeah.
Shyam Kishore Prabhu, is it okay for you?
Yeah, I'm still with you. Just I'll have to walk back to the temple because we have a reading in like 15 minutes.
Okay. Do you think you can give me another 7-8 minutes and then just run for it?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. What time is it?
It's 2:30.
Yeah,
so
that's fine.
Here, highlights might differ, but basically what it should show is like with any good product. So many people are using it. So many people are happy. Well, first of all, so many people are happy to receive it. That's one side. And second is so many people are happy using it. So
the Instagram, this page, yeah?
They do the stories all the time and they highlight some of those. So for example, this one is called Our Customers. So I'll just flip through. These are stories where they make a post or they make a story. They share how they received the book, how they would definitely share some of the insights once they start reading it.
So are these the bloggers or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Когда я прочитаю эту книжку, я вам обязательно скажу. Все эти книжки я еще у них есть бесплатный доступ.
Anyway, there is so many of them.
Не согласиться и
they start sharing different insights.
Amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. There is really a lot of them. And these are the people who've never heard about Srila Prabhupada's books, or maybe they had some understanding, some slight understanding.
Читайте правильные книги и просвещайтесь.
So people read the good books and get enlightened. And as you see, people are very different. It's not just yogis, it's just many of them are common people, bloggers, ladies with big lips, anything and everything. So I can go through that a lot, but it's almost like, imagine Shyam Kishore Prabhu, if on the street, instead of saying everything, you just show a very quick clip that shows how hundreds of people that this particular person looks alike, and that speaks better than any words that you're going to give about this book. They kind of speak for itself.
Can I say that again, please?
Imagine that instead of speaking many words, convincing a person on the street, open to them a row of people who are already using it and reading it, and they are happy, they're good looking, and the person immediately resonates with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was Our Customers. Then this one is reviews. This one specifically on text description. And you don't see, but many of them that I stopped or flipped through had hundreds of likes as well. Anyway, you see at the top, this is how many stories are there.
How many what?
Dozens. There is stories. There is dozens of stories by now. And each of these people, each of these personalities, they had, I don't know, at least 1, 5, 10, 500, 5,000 people that their story was exposed to, depending on how many people subscribe to their channel. So in this way, when they do the story, well, that's the usual mechanics behind Instagram. The tag is there. People hear from the authority, well, in their own understanding, the authority as the person they're following up and they're looking up to. And then they subscribe, they go to the page. They
go to this page.
Yeah, they go to this page.
The devotees page after.
Yeah, the blogger shows the book, tells about the book, tells about their emotion receiving this book, and gives the tag. But then they click the tag, they come to this page. So that's how it got 15,000 followers by now. I don't know how much time it's been there. I presume 3-4 months. I can double check.
3-4 months.
I think so. I'll double check. So then there is also amongst the highlights, you have a particular representation of 3 books that they're focusing on. Here it's Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers, SSR, and Bhagavad Gita. So in your case, it can be in essence, it can be Veda, it can be SSR, it can be Gita as well. Again, the choice might vary depending on the audience that you're reaching out to.
And they can then people who come, they can buy a book from this page.
Yeah, then it says a free delivery, and then it shows 5 different countries. You can discuss the price for the book as well. It's the question. Again, it depends on the type of audience you're reaching out to, and you don't necessarily need to make it small. Anyway, it's a whole lot discussion. It can be the usual price that we use. It can be somewhat different, more comparable with prices for the books of the same kind in Amazon or in Waterstone, whatever. That's it. At that stage, you talk to people, you engage with them, you follow up them once they read the one book and they shared, and or maybe they have some questions that you talk about. And then the third stage is once you building up your tribe, once people start appreciate your books, people start talking about these books, Instagram starts showing you to those who are look-alike this audience, then you can also apply different promo methods. You can actually, whatever, you have 50, 100, 150 people, 500 people who resonated with your pitch, with your idea, with your books, then you take it and then you do look-alike. And Instagram gives you 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, whatever, and people who are of the same kind, who might be potentially be interested in what you are offering to them. And that's where what we're doing right now is using a test. It's an advert on Instagram. It goes onto these audiences who are look-alike. It gives a test. It has different types of things in a mixture of gunas. It has a bit about conspiracy theories, about the COVID-19, about meaning of life, some element of joke. It can be very different. Again, it depends on the audience, but they pass the test and they get like a prize, the ebook, Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers, and then Sankirtan devotees follow them up. There is whole other thing behind it that you can evolve into and work around once you start building up with those first 2 steps that I described earlier.
So I just didn't really understand the last part.
Okay, so the last part, once you have people who are reciprocating with your pitch, you build up a particular group. Then Instagram has a certain feature. You say, hey, I want to know who are those who are like this group. And Instagram has its own system, big data. It says that many people look alike this group. And then you can do the promo paid adverts who would reach out to all those people with this interest. And then it can be, I'm just saying, we're using a test as a way to engage them, but it can be different. It can be a direct sale. It can be a nice image. It can be a test. There is plenty of ways to how to hook the customer. It's a whole other discussion. That's it. Natasha Mataji, do you have any questions at that stage?
No, nothing from me.
It says the meeting will end in 10 minutes. To have something like that going, you need at least one person who would write content, and then find and choose or create images or videos that will be displayed on your content. Then someone who is reaching out to bloggers, then one who actually does the communication. It all can be one person if he's just fully committed to that particular project. But in this particular case, there is about 10, 15 people who are doing different levels of service and work within this particular page and project. And what else? Yeah, and then at a certain point you also have SMM managers, people who are expert and skillful in preaching in promoting your posts out there, and that attracts a particular audience, etc., etc. Of course, you need a person who, please have a look at how the books are presented.
Смотрите, как оригинально. Книжки.
Зачем нам читать? And there is different types of...
Самое интересное... Все эти книжки.
Okay, here's another one. You see, for them it looks like magic. They even put stars to it. It's a beautiful wrapping, and then there is whole... And she's saying, wow, it's powerful.
А еще счастливая как сон. Знаете почему? Потому что недавно заказала книги.
And you know, I'm happy like anything. You know why? Because I ordered books. Because I want to start reading.
Они мне пришли. Сегодня сейчас распакую, вечером покажу, что здесь, что
здесь. Сейчас
прям очень приятно удивлена, потому что мне еще так не присылали книги. Смотрите.
I've never seen books like that. I've never got books.
Вот эти вот крутые шарики.
First of all, these bubbles.
Я сейчас буду так жестко распаковывать
I'm
это
going
все.
to uncover it.
Смотрите, это же просто бомбически.
Wow, it's just bombastic. It's beautiful.
Это я понимаю упаковка. Крафт.
Yeah, this is real. This is a real cover. This is craft.
Круто.
This is cool. Anyway, so it's cool. It's cool and it's beautiful and it's appealing and it's next level, and it's worth trying. And from what I remember, London and Soho Temple has been always very innovative and cutting edge with all kinds of preaching with that line. And thanks to Krishna, to have all good opportunities to do that. There is many wonderful devotees, expert in different elements of what is needed to set something like that up. So I really pray it can be of some help, so that books keep going even during this time, and even when the time gets changed, the whole thing that social media offers is engaged as well in sharing Sankirtan, in sharing books in English. Hare Krishna.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing. I think we'll have to have some more discussions around.
Yeah, I will stop the recording and I'll share with you, so you can show to any senior devotees or any Sankirtan devotees or any devotees in the preaching department, just so that everyone is on the same page and you can discuss it more thoroughly.
Definitely.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, sure.
So so for the Instagram page when you create, so you need something already kind of like, already quite present with many followers and many posts?
No, everyone starts with something. Usually they recommend to start with 9 or 10 posts, just something to start with. Then you have a congregation, you ask them to be amongst the first one to follow, then it's also an easy start. Then whatever. Anyway, it's just, I don't want to put everything in half an hour session. I also don't want to overload, because every single element of it has its own realm. It's like Bhagavatam. You give a sutra, but there is whole realm behind it. There's many elements, many things to consider. I don't know. Maybe I can be of some help to devotees if they decide to go for it, because we've gone back and forth with that, and some mistakes that we made, and certainly a certain level of success that we can build up on and share.
Mm-hmm. And so what would be the first thing, the first step towards that, to start?
Create the Instagram page, or before that, go to your authority. Check that it's a bona fide thing to do. Show them the video. Ask if they like it, if they think it's good. Think about the team. Try to do it straight from the beginning with those who are experts in their different areas. Natasha Mataji knows a lot about social media. I'm sure she has already, as I was going through that, I'm sure she has already thought over so many things and applied practically and thought of particular candidates for particular roles. Then I'm sure she has gone through that. But Shyam Kishore Prabhu, for you, it's natural to communicate, talk to people, follow them up, maybe invite at some point to what I can't remember the name of this session where Shyam Govinda and Delmore would do something like Meet a Monk or something.
Yeah, Wisdom Wednesday.
Yeah, Wisdom Wednesday. Yeah, but now it can be online as well. Anyway, there is different elements to it. I just wanted to share this idea because it's wonderful, and I understand that devotees in England wouldn't have access to it because it's in Russian. I wanted to somehow build this bridge, show it, because I still have a lot of gratitude for a beautiful Krishna conscious life I was given. And although far away, it's my chance to contribute in some way. And if this seed leads to more books going out, then it's wonderful. And this particular tool and this particular strategy also definitely has a potential to open up actually way more. For example, just to finish with, here they were doing a little bit of, they're presenting a book to a very famous Russian singer, very famous. He's receiving the book. He opens it up right on the stage. Then that goes viral immediately. You know, imagine Lady Gaga got a book and she starts opening up, and there is signs of self-realization inside, and she writes on the spot. She speaks something. There's prasad inside and book inside. And musician starts improvising. He said, "Hey, someone has taken one cookie." I think that was true. Someone has taken a cookie.
Nice. How many books are being distributed through this?
I can double check the exact figure. I'm in close touch with the person who's in charge of that in another project. It just that's how I know the details, and I know some of the Sankirtan devotees who are kind of that other leg of this idea. So in that sense, it's quite transparent. I know the details and apply the same in some of my business things that I'm doing. Look, it's less than a minute left, so it might be just closing at any given second.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just pay my obeisances here. Thank you so much, Natasha Mataji.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Prabhu. I'm going to share the recording with you, and Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Time.
Jai. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare.